There we go. Give me like 1 minute. I gotta go get my phone and my computer charger. So while this warms up and other people are getting on, I'm gonna put some music on really quick. Let's see here. Sounds good. All right, BRB. I have to take the iPad charger. My computer. I'm going in, Mia. Okay. Let's do this. Grand Rising. I know a lot of people are going to be watching the recording. Looks like Nyasho's on. Good to see you. Let me see really quick so everyone else know we're here. Okay. Sent it in the group. Let me tell the Discord. There we go. Okay, blessings. What's up, guys? Everyone, I know for the most part, a lot of people will be watching the recording. So as always, if any questions come up, let me know. Today we're flowing. I mean, every day we're flowing, right? I just got back from an amazing, awesome, and powerful snowboarding trip. We went up to southern Utah. I'm currently in Nevada. And It was really cool. The obviously snowboarding is really fun. If you haven't been, try it. If you're a skier, it's okay too. But I the snowboarding trip wasn't awesome just because of the actual snowboarding, which was great. It's cool because I'm from Utah, and it was really interesting to see. How could I explain this? I'm I'm more conscious of energy than I've ever been in my entire life, and that continues to grow as I continue my practices. My spiritual practices are directly the intention, like they're for that. They're for building consciousness, energetic consciousness. And so as long as I'm practicing, I notice that growing, right? Just like going to the gym, the intention of going to the gym is get a more fit body, right? So if I, practicing spiritually, we'll get more expansive in our spirituality. So for those that are ready and interested, if you feel like spiritually, even if you're in a good place spiritually, but you want to get to a great place, um, I got the key. I got the key, and I'm so grateful that it was shown to me. So just know that, if whatever your spiritual practice is, and for me, I thought a deep spiritual practice, the deepest was going to be chanting on beads and everything. Let's see. And Yasha said, are we still planning to meet today? Yes. I haven't seen anything on Instagram, Nyasha, by the way, but I do have our meeting today. I'm still planning on it. If that doesn't work, just let me know. But anyway, spiritual practice, yeah, just meditation, just where I used to be chanting on beads and spending time alone. I thought that was gonna be it. I thought that was the end, or that was the last or the greatest things that you could be doing spiritually, chanting on beads in a cave and praying and stuff. And two things. One, first of all, I realized that everything is spiritual. So those people who are spiritual, who are trying to run away, like, oh, I need to go live in a cave, and hide from everyone. Downtown LA is spiritual. The mountains are spiritual. Downtown Las Vegas is spiritual. Everything is spiritual. And when you start to see things in that light, you can experience spirituality everywhere. On that same note, I will say, from someone who's really in tune with energy and stuff, I do feel like it's easier for me personally to expand spiritually in certain places. And the certain places that I know of are what people call energy vortexes. Sedona is one of those places. It's beautiful. I feel like but what it is I feel like I have more access to chi there, or prana, if you will. And so when I'm moving energy, breathing in light, doing Tai Chi, those of you that have been working with energy or do Tai Chi even, you're familiar with energy, and you know what I mean when I say I have access to more Chi. But for those of you that don't, we take in energy with every one of our breaths, and we send energy to everything that we think about and we look at, or talk, anyone we talk to, or anything like that. And so basically what I'm saying is there's an access to more of that energy and more of that consciousness. Every breath you're bringing in a little bit more energy and chi. And that's a part of the reason why I moved to Tulum, and a big reason why we're moving to the next place that I'm moving to in Guatemala. So anyways, so I do want to say everything is spirit. I did say everything is spiritual, but I'm also saying that, I've mentioned this a couple times in the last few weeks since I heard the quote, but flowers can't grow in Antarctica, they can, right? Special flowers, but sometimes it's good to put ourselves in a place uh where we're better apt to grow, where we get more sunshine maybe, or and more than just the actual weather, but we're surrounded by people who are also growing and expanding, because we're going to be able to tap into that energy. And so anyways, beyond the point, one of the things I wanted to mention was, of course, consistent spiritual practice. If you're ready for that, if you want to know more, I only talk about deep stuff, for people that are like inquisitive, because it's not for everyone. And so you got to be in that place where you're ready, where you're and you'll know if it's time to move forward. So anyways, one really powerful thing that I noticed though was that, I don't know, I do, obviously I believe that elevation can affect our mindset. And I was up in some higher elevation, but I also believe that we can, with certain areas we go to, there are certain frequencies, there are certain collective thought energies that are over these areas. And so I realized that when I went to Utah, in a place that I grew up in, and growing up, my childhood was kind of rough. So, I had these random thoughts and memories that were coming back to me that I hadn't experienced in years. And it was really powerful to be able to practice the alchemy. When I say alchemy, but just being able to willfully have strong will to redirect my mind, where in the past, maybe 7-8 years ago, if I had certain negative thoughts or memories of certain traumatic experiences, my mind might go crazy and in its own direction in this negative thought loop, thinking about, oh, this bad thing happened, which reminds me of this bad thing, and then I have the worst day ever of just anxiety and all that, right? That's something that happened years and years ago, more than 4 or 5 years ago. And so what I did was, by going back there, I started to experience these thoughts, and which is crazy, thoughts from my childhood and thoughts around a bunch of different situations. And it was really powerful, because I know that we're only given situations that we can learn from. And so to have this consciousness, to have this awareness that I've never had before while going through these thought patterns, was really powerful. And so I was able to look at each thought, and just like I teach people, when you have negative thoughts and negative thought patterns come up, if you just allow them to go, it's gonna come up again. But if we can notice the negative thought or the negative thought pattern when it comes up, and then we can redirect our mind or be inquisitive about it, instead of either trying to avoid it or give it fuel and be like, oh yeah, that's right, this thought, my life does suck, blah blah blah. We can start to be inquisitive, and we can ask, where does this come from? Why do I feel like this? Because deep down, if I talk to you guys, we're all together, we all know that we're divine beings. We all know that we're a spark of divinity, or even a blazing fire of divinity, depending on where you're at in your journey. We all know that right now, but sometimes we forget it. And so I'm glad that I had that consciousness, because I was able to go in with that knowing I am divinity. So this thought is just a thought. It's not real. It's not me. So what I'm going into, what I'm emphasizing is that, first and foremost, if you live in the same place that you grew up in and you haven't yet moved, 1,000,000%, if I could say one of the best things you could ever do for yourself in your life, go live somewhere else for at least like 6 months at bare minimum. Because what I was able to do is see how differently just being somewhere else and being away from the old stimulus that I had allowed me to disconnect and think in a different way. If you're living in the same place you grew up in, if you ever had things that triggered you when you were a kid, or traumas that happened when you were younger, every time you see those things, whether it's a specific scenery, if you live in the same house, you see the same rooms, or whether it's the same town, you drive by the same parks and the same stores you went to when you were younger, you all the time naturally are getting the stimulus from your subconscious of all the memories in the areas that you're in. So in a way, you're going to be getting triggered moment to moment, day to day, if you're not putting in the work and the effort. Now, you can alchemize and you can do things with where you're at. Of course, you don't need to leave. However, I know how much I have grown by going and seeing another culture. You don't have to leave the country in the US to see another culture. Trust me, I've spent a lot of time door-to-door sales in the deep South. That is a whole different country than California or Michigan or New York. It's a completely different place. But anyways, there's plenty of places you can go in the US. Yaz is saying environment, signal, genetics, and neural networks. Yes, your environment directly affects your DNA is basically what Yaz is saying, and it's definitely true. And it's based off our thoughts, our memories, our feelings, but also the collective of the people around us. So by moving away, and luckily, I've been, from where I grew up, I've been able to travel for, years now. Like since I was 18, 19, really, I've been traveling all over the US and now all over the world. And so I've been able to get this outside perspective. So then when I went back to this area, to this place where, I had grown up and I had seen things, we went there because it's the best snow for snowboarding, of course, you got to. But I was able to go with this new, I'm not going to say enlightened mindset, but in a way, I was enlightened to a new way of thinking. And so being able to spend time in that new way of thinking by leaving the place that I grew up in, when I came back, it made it so much easier to alchemize all those thoughts and feelings and all those energies. And so, when I had left those thoughts, feelings, and energies, I had no idea really how to alchemize things or how to program my mind. So what I'm getting at is that first and foremost, it's really good to first of all leave your hometown if you haven't already. Do it for a while. Trading is one of the best ways to make an income. To do that, that's what afforded me the ability to travel and to do things. Um, but there's so many ways, and I love Latin America. I think Latin America is going to be the new hub. You know, how the US over the last 50, 60, 80, 100 years maybe has been like a financial hub of the world. I think that over the next 50 years, Central America, Latin America will become that. And so there's a lot of reasons, that I love going there. But on that note, Latin America is close. If you live in the US and you want to go somewhere, it's close. And there's so many places you can go that are affordable. You could easily find some awesome places in Mexico, and rent and all, you could probably live for like $600 to $750 a month comfortably. There's certain places in Mexico where you could get a nice, really, really small, I'm not going to say nice, a really small apartment for like $300 a month. Like what I'm getting at is you don't have to hold yourself back, in any way. Any one of you, there's so many different side hustles. If you're in this live stream, I have a side hustles webinar. I usually sell for $30. I'll give every one of you the video. That alone will teach you how to make enough money to, if you want to go take a trip for a couple months, like you'll easily get enough money in your pocket to do that. And trading is one of the best ways to sustain that, income, because you can make money from wherever. But what I'm getting at is leave your hometown, have fun with it, go to a place that you never thought. If you want to know if good places to go that are safe, let's say I can only recommend the places that I've been to. I love Thailand. I love Mexico. Mexico is just easier because Spanish is a little easier to translate from English, and it's a lot closer to the US. So, if going to Thailand is all the way across the world. But anyway, yeah, so we're flowing, guys. We're flowing. And the last thought I want to have too is how important it is that we are paying attention to our thought patterns, because we're creating our world. And that's the thing is we don't realize a lot of times is even if we go from a flowy, empowered, positive state of mind where we like create our world with our thoughts instantly, right? We've all been in that point. Sometimes we forget about how powerful we are when we get into those dips of like questioning ourselves and questioning like if we are powerful, or questioning our abilities, right? There's a lot of things that can happen to cause that. So if we can take the time to proactively, whether you can leave where you're living or leave your hometown or not, if you could take your time to proactively go into memories, go into traumas. And how do we do that? First of all, get into a deep meditative state, smoke a joint if you need to, do some breath work if you need to, whatever it takes, get into a meditative state. And then close your eyes, put some good music on. And the way I do this is I start to breathe light into my body for like 10 breaths. And I have a specific way that I breathe in when I'm breathing in light specifically. So it's like a trigger for my body to know this is what I'm doing. So for me, I purse my lips like that. So if I'm breathing like that, if you ever see me and I'm not saying anything and you see me like I'm breathing in energy to something, just so you know. No one knows that except for you guys. So I breathe in light to my body. And then I start to think of any trauma or and if maybe sometimes traumas, our mind will block them out, but I will go into and think about a negative thought pattern or a traumatic experience. And I'll like asking questions about it. So proactively, for me, what's a traumatic experience that I went through? I had a company one time that really screwed me over. They like sucked my energy dry and used me, and then they didn't pay me. There's like 30 grand they didn't pay me. And so this was a long time ago. And this was a traumatic experience because not only did they not pay me the money I was owed, but I had used all my money to support my team that I had built for that company. And so I'm just giving an example of a memory for me. So what I would do is I would go into this memory where I was so angry and I was, screaming at nothing because this company didn't pay me, and like, how could they do that? And they, oh, by the way, they just fired me and not paid me. Just it was a political thing. It was a sales thing because I had friends from another company. That's a whole other story. So what I would do is I get into the meditative state, right? Whatever it takes, smoke a joint, chill, do some breath work, whatever it takes, put some music on. And then I would take my mind immediately to that moment where I felt the most emotion. And sometimes this is scary because your mind and your heart, your emotions will want to avoid this difficult thing because it was difficult, is emotionally challenging. So anything that's difficult, if you start to feel resistance for any memory or anything, that tells you there's still emotional attachment to it. And so then what I do is I'll take the same technique of breathing light from the light that's greater than the sun into that memory. Sometimes if it's a feeling, right? It's easy to go straight to memories, but sometimes it's a feeling. Maybe one day you're going throughout your day and you're like, wow, I just feel scarce financially for some reason. So what you would do is the same thing, is get into a meditative state. And then you focus on that feeling of feeling scarce and really feel it. And like, where is this coming? And ask it, where's this coming from? When was the first time I felt scarce? When was the first time I felt like I had challenges with money? And a lot of times that's where memories will come up, and we can breathe light into those. So when I find, if I'm going proactively into a traumatic memory or into a feeling, I breathe so much light into it. I like 10, 20, 30 breaths until everything is white. The whole memory is white. And then I immediately take my mind to a place where I felt more empowered, more on top of the world, more expansive. So effectively what I'm doing is I'm going in and I'm erasing by breathing in white light to this traumatic experience or this negative thought pattern. I'm breathing in light into it, erasing it, if you will, until everything is white. 10 breaths, 3 breaths, 5 breaths, however many it takes, 50 breaths. And then I'm immediately taking my mind or installing a memory or a thought or feeling where I felt more empowered and on top of the world. And so directly what I did is I took that traumatic experience, I erased the feeling of it. We're always going to have the memory, but I erased the emotional attachment to it. And I effectively installed a new, more empowered memory in its place. So the key here is to go in deep and really feel the power of that memory, whether it was your first time succeeding in business, your first time passing some exam, your first kiss, your first whatever, where you just felt like, wow, I am the greatest. I can't believe I did this. Like I'm amazing. And so go in and feel it as strong as you can. Every single time that you do that, every time a negative thought pattern or a traumatic experience, you take the time to go in and breathe light and replace it for something powerful or empowering, I should say. This is effectively reprogramming your subconscious. And so over time, you do it just once, okay, it helps, but over time, consistently, you will start to notice your whole life change. And so this is a practice, just the breathing light into something. This alone will change your life for real if you can stay consistent with it 2 to 3 times a day, depending on the thoughts and the memories that come up. And sometimes now I'll practice this like once, twice a week. While I was in Utah, though, it was like 3, 4 times a day the whole time I was there. And so, which is really empowering because normally if I would years ago where I would allow those negative thought patterns to just go off, I might have 2, 3, 4 days where I'm just feeling bad and anxious and, depressed. That happened a long time ago. But now that I have this power of my mind, or I know the power of my mind, and I've been expanding it through my consistent practices, it's really easy to alchemize and pull myself out of a thought loop, like, immediately. Sometimes it takes 20 minutes, but it's okay. So anyways, I just want to emphasize how powerful you guys are. That is an NLP practice, by the way, just breathing light into this. You can do so many more things with this technique. Try to expand on it. Think about how you could program future experiences that you haven't had yet, or how you could totally change and alter previous experiences to see them in a different light, to empower your subconscious to feel a different way about yourself. This is something that I paid, one time I had a coach, a practice, an NLP practice thing. I paid like 10 grand for this though, for this life coach. And so this is one of the most powerful practices that I learned in that coaching. It wasn't the only thing I learned, of course, but I just want to let you guys know that a lot of people pay a lot of money to learn practices like that. So try it out. It's a consistent thing. And one lesson that's really powerful in the spiritual journey that I am on, the spiritual path that I'm on, we'll say, it's a saying, there's this, what do you call it? This moment where they call it the oath, where you realize and you commit to consciously seeing that every single thing in your world, every noise, every voice, every person is a direct reflection for you, is a direct communication from the universe to you. Whether you hear someone talking across the street, barely, or you hear a song and lyrics are playing, or someone's talking to you, all of it is a reflection of you. So the breathing light into memories, into thoughts, that's one aspect of this, is realizing every thought that comes up is not someone else triggering me, it's something that's within me. But also the people around you, random people come around you that you're like, you see someone, you're like, oh, look at what that person's wearing, dang, I don't want to be around them, that's for sure, they got crazy hair. Right there, that is resistance. That is someone who is at one point or another a reflection of you. So even when I see people or I have conversations that are good, that are bad, or whatever, I'm constantly using that thing where I'm breathing light into something. Anytime where I'm around someone that might make me feel uncomfortable, or I'm around a situation that might make me feel uncomfortable, or anything at all, I'm in a place that's ugly, whatever. If I have got this Airbnb and I'm breathing light into all these things, and so this allows me, the breathing light, not only does it allow me to start to alchemize negative thoughts, but on top of that, when we don't take the time to go at something, right? If we can breathe light into it and feel the love and feel the peace around anything and everything that might normally make us feel uncomfortable, we are starting to build resilience and having this abundant, empowered mindset all the time. Because regularly what we would do is, if we see something that we don't like, or someone we don't like, or someone that's gross, some crackhead walks by us down the street, right? We would normally reject it mentally. We're like, oh, that's gross. Like, let's get away from this person. Let's run across the street, right? But by doing so, we're creating small levels of resistance to all things in our world. And so if we look at things head on, everything that comes into our visuals, into our focus, into our experience, it's all meant for us. And so the more that, once again, we can do things head on, the more powerfully we're going to be able to go throughout life and achieve anything, and go head on at things instead of avoiding the things that make us feel uncomfortable. So okay, you guys know I could go off forever. I want to go through some charts. I know there's a few people on here. Let's see. There's a couple people on here I know that are charting and trading consistently. So I know a lot of the charting might be for people who watch the recording. That's fine. But I want to open up first for any questions, if you guys have anything at all on what I was just talking about, on moving energy, on alchemizing negative thoughts, on alchemizing negative experiences. I'm all ears. Let me check the chat really quick. Nyasho saying thank you for sharing. Of course, I appreciate you, Nyasho, and your energy for coming. Seriously, you guys, once again, just being here, watching, listening to me, you contribute to the energy and contributes to the words that I say. So sometimes we can pick up on each other's thoughts and stuff. And one of the most transformative experiences I've had in real time, like you see a whirlpool of info, being in your surroundings as a child. Yes. Yeah. And yeah, so it's powerful. Yeah, when you could be around, it's really empowering to be around like a parent or something. That's one thing. I had a really rough childhood. And so that's one challenge that's going to happen sometime for me in the next 10 years, I think, is I'm going to go back and to my parents. I don't really talk to my parents very much. And, that's going to be a whole other thing. And so I think what's really cool is also, for those of you that are really close with your family and you really connect with your family, sometimes it can be tough to decide that it's going to be best for you to go do things on your own, because you're like, I got to calibrate to my family. I got to make them happy. I got to do what they would think is best for me. That's all crap. This is your life. Doesn't matter how great your mother and father have been to you, and they paid for everything for you for your entire life, and they're going to fund you. As long as you do what they say, they're going to fund everything for you. If you don't want to do it, run. Don't run, but say with love, hey, I'm going another direction. Yeah, it's really powerful once again to move away from your hometown, move away from your parents, even if they live in the same town. If you haven't done so before, it's really, really empowering. And then, yeah, once you go back, it's, if you can go back. And for me, it's just getting to a point where 100% where I can talk to my parents and I don't have any thought or attachment to anything that happened when I was a child. And so, for me, it's a little tough. I'm definitely in a great place compared to where I was, and I could definitely hold my own. But still, we you want to get to a place where you're not so. I'm getting to a place where I know for sure that I would not be triggered by anything my parents did or said. So, yeah, resonate with everything you're doing, having a lot of high realizations of self at once. True coming out of my shell. I love that. Having the opportunity to grow in a toxic environment is not recommended, but a confirmation of many empowering things for me. Yes. I was away for quite some time. So Nyasha said, yeah, she was away, got to go away and come back. And it's really powerful just to see that environment from an outside perspective, even if you, I don't know, like most people on here are on their own. I know there's a couple people I coach that still live with parents, which is cool. And for sometimes, and I'm not saying don't live with your parents at all by any means. But what I am saying is that if you haven't at all taken the time to live on your own, just to see things from an outside perspective, it's really, really empowering. It does. Nyasha says it changes everything. Yeah. So for sure. Yeah, I'm so much more patient too. And yeah, really stoked on life. And that was another thing too, that I for whatever reason, I had this, spark lit under me. I'm already pretty motivated for things, but yeah, set up a good foundation for a lot of cool things to come. So I'm stoked to share some of that with you guys today, as I do. And move forward. But yeah, any questions, any comments, any ideas? Feeling good? Okay, cool, guys. So number one thing I'm most excited to share, of course, is the Discord. We still don't have it live for people to pay yet, but just trust in the background. I actually want to show you guys here. I'm going to sneak peek for you few here. We just had a intro video to our for our Discord created by Alan. If you guys don't know Alan yet, if you're in the Ascended Trader mentorship, he posts here sometimes. He does post here in the Discord a little bit randomly. Gotta find him. Anyways, if you're not in the Discord, this is where you want to be for trading and for everything. Like, we got trades going on daily. Oh, whoops, I wasn't sharing the right screen. I was only sharing one thing. Let me go back to this. Here's a Discord. We've got trades going on daily. Sometimes posting stuff about crypto when it's right, when it's ready. Here's Alan. He posted today. He's in Australia, by the way. So he posted some amazing stuff. All the time he posts some amazing stuff. So check it out. If you need the link, let me know. Here, this is going to be the greatest wealth and abundance community in the world. Oh, I got a message. Let me check it. Javier said, I actually did move away from the place I grew up just last year. Amazing. Was surrounded by negative people, and this built up a lot of negative thoughts. Yes. Also felt stuck in that house as well. After moving, I began healing and taking therapy, which helped a lot and made me much better now. Yes, Javier. Yeah, it's really, really powerful just to remove yourself. And especially if it's an environment that is kind of like, it's like I don't want to say battle zone, because that might be like exaggerating, right? But if it's a place where you feel like you have to tiptoe around, and if you live your life like this, in the place, if this is the best way I can explain it, where you feel like that, you got to go, you got to get out and just be in a place where you can heal. And a lot of the reasons why people don't move is because money. And so just take your time, get a passport for real. There's some awesome, amazing, safe places that I can share with you in Latin America. You can easily, from most places in the US, you can get a ticket for like $200. Sometimes from Vegas or LA, I can go to Mexico for like $60 to $80 one way. And yeah, it's really powerful. You can go find a place, $600, you stay there. You don't need a lot to go and just for a month, just stay somewhere where you can just be in your own energy and just see things from the outside. So you can do that in the where you live. You can go stay in another place in your town, but if money is what holds you back, then go to a different country for a little bit. It's okay. Mexico is very, very safe in specific areas. So, okay. Anyway, the Discord is amazing. I'm going to sneak peek to you guys our promo video for the Discord's called Atlantis. We're just really honestly at this point finalizing what we're going to charge people on, like the system for that for the subscription. We just want to do that right. But I'm going to show you guys this video. I'm really stoked about this. Like I was saying, Alan or Vinsbra made this. And let's see, yesterday. Here we go. Okay, it's 2 minutes, but it is so worth it. By the way, all this footage, that was Mia, that was my girlfriend. There's Alan. This is all 95%. This is a place I lived in Mexico. This is also in Mexico. Most of this drone footage is stuff I took.
What's up? My name is Amala. Just seeing so much shifts in my life and my ability to accept abundance when it comes to me.
What's up, you guys? I'm going to be teaming up with The Ascended Trader, and we are going to be providing you market breakdowns, live calls, mindset coaching, and much, much more. Atlantis is the first community of traders that is oriented around personal and spiritual evolution, as well as transformational psychology.
Are you tired of your 9 to 5? Want to finally live the dream life that you've always dreamt of? Embark now on the arc and join us in the Atlantis. It's to me that this system works with discipline, with transparency, with honesty within your own self. And when you address the own subconscious mind, you're able to actually unlock deeper level of emotional control, which will help you make decisions in your life, help you move forward to accomplish the goals that you set. And you'll not only notice yourself more profitable on the markets, you'll notice yourself making better decisions all throughout life.
Welcome to Atlantis. This is the greatest community in the world for financial, mental, and spiritual expansion through now over to 25 combined years of experience in the markets, in entrepreneurship, in reprogramming the mind. We realize that there's a massive gap when it comes to the financial world and spirituality. So inside Atlantis, we're providing all the tools to guide you in expansion consistently in all ways. You deserve to be abundant. You deserve to be free. You deserve to live a life that you choose. And we created this group to provide you all the best tools to do so. If you just entered, prepare for growth that you've never experienced before. All right, guys, that's the promo video I'm really stoked about. So that's Atlantis, that's Discord, and we have some awesome things going. Right now we're still in beginning stages, so if you are in there and you have seen it, just obviously right now what's being posted is great, but it's gonna get better and better as soon as we got things figured out. We're not like putting a dead set timeline on it. We just want it to be right. We're gonna start announcing giveaways. Some of the giveaways that we've talked about, we're gonna be giving away some coaching, giving away we're probably going to be doing a couple like $500 trading accounts, just some random stuff. Hey, thank you, Mia. Oh, with Brussels sprouts? Wow. Mia's always a breakfast. So we're going to make it amazing. You guys here watching this now live and ones watching the recording, you guys are the first outside of the admins to see that video. Probably post that sometime in the next week or two publicly. So my intentions is by the way, with this group, we're going to continue to grow this as a an abundance, financial abundance, obviously trading, entrepreneurship, consciousness, things like that. We're going to continue to grow and expand in that way. My intentions with this group long term, for those of you that have heard me talk about Atlantis, the fund, this is going to be the community for that. And that fund is, I can't wait to work with every one of you to contribute to what we're going to do, but I don't know exactly how it's going to turn out. But I know exactly what we're going to do and figuring out how to do it. But this is going to be the community for that fund. Atlantis, the fund, it's going to initially be something where anyone and everyone and each one of the Atlantis members will get first access to be able to invest in Atlantis, where it pays you back. It's all decentralized. It's like putting your money into something like Robinhood or even Coinbase, except it's not a company that owns it. You are the one owning or holding your money. But by putting it into Atlantis, you're saying, hey, I approve that you guys can move the money around and trade it, but you can pull it back out anytime you want. Of course, it's your money. So everything's going to be completely transparent. That's the problem with a lot of these big exchanges. We've talked about FTX and stuff before, that they take your money and they do whatever they want with it. They do what banks do, which is really, really sketchy because they're not clear about it. So everything's going to be clear and transparent, but we're anticipating anywhere from a 2 to 5% return on your money each month. So anywhere from a 20 to 60% return on your money yearly. It just depends. We got to see how things flow and how things go. But why is Atlantis so cool? More than just making money on your money, you will be able to. We're going to have a whole regenerative funding program where any business, any individual who is creating a business that is regenerative and they need funding, we're going to offer you funding. Atlantis will give you the funding. Atlantis will own a portion of your business, of course, while you're making money. But let's say you have a regenerative coffee shop or something. You use all recycled materials or whatever it is, right? You can apply to open a second location. And the cool thing is, every one of us that are investors in Atlantis, we put this money into our Atlantis app to make the money monthly, the returns monthly. You'll be able to see where those returns come from. So maybe 1 or 2% of your returns are because of this little coffee shop in Nicaragua that's regenerative that we funded. And maybe part of it is someone built a whole amazing community and retreat center in Texas, and Atlantis funded that. So Atlantis owns a portion of the income. And since all of us are people who invested in Atlantis, and it's our money that went to create this retreat center, we'll own a piece of that retreat center. Long term, also, I will be making deals. I already have some awesome friends who have cool communities. That's why I use community as an example. But everyone who is a member of Atlantis will get access to the Atlantis community. And so what I visualize is awesome communities anywhere in the world. If you wanted to be a digital nomad, just wherever, you can look at all the communities that are in the Atlantis ecosystem. And there's going to be different grades. There might be some nice ones that are like 5-star communities, and they'll cost a little bit, right? But my intention is to make this to where anyone who's a member of Atlantis, you get access to literally everything. If you want to travel around the world, if you want to have access to a private jet without owning a private jet, if you want to have access to a yacht without owning a yacht, if you want to live or have houses, vacation homes anywhere in the world, you want to travel as a digital nomad, the intention is that Atlantis will have all these things in the ecosystem, and no one will own them except we'll all own them, if you will. Atlantis will be the owner. Atlantis will take care of everything else, all the maintenance, everything, and we just get to enjoy it. And so the benefit of this is what my intention is to, on a first small scale, just with the community, is to create a more inclusive financial system, if you will. Do what banks already do, but instead of being a bank and just me being the only one that benefits and the shareholders and the owners of the bank being the only one that benefits, we're going to spread those benefits to everyone, to the entire community. And so it'll be really, really empowering. And I'm stoked, really, really stoked. So would you believe that this is the future of the past? It's so amazing, huh? Yeah, it's amazing that the name Atlantis came up, because that makes it makes it really feel that, that it's returning. This type of thing already existed. What I envision is just a more inclusive financial system, because let's be honest, I was having a conversation yesterday. Most jobs, most people in the world, their income will be replaced by AI within probably 30 years. And so I have a friend, if you guys haven't heard of that new AI that's out called Chat GPT, check it out. It's really smart. My friend just my girlfriend's cousin, I should say. He's awesome. He's in high school. He's graduating this year, but he just got an A on his English exam, and it was typed up by ChatGPT. He just said, "Hey, type me a 4-page essay on this subject, blah blah blah," and it typed it out perfectly, and he got an A on it. So, like, when it comes to, he also talked about, he's like, "Hey, I want to be a pilot," and I'm like, you realize that Tesla's already starting to ship some of the semis, and so those are going to be automatic driving within 5 years. A lot of semis are going to be autopilot. And there's even systems now where some of the new semis, they can add things to them to make them autopilot. It's the fueling and stuff they got to figure out. But airlines, flights, airplanes, most airplanes are flown and landed automatically now anyway. But eventually it's going to be where no one is flying. They don't need anyone and it's going to be actually where it's more unsafe to have a human in the cockpit than it is to have the computers doing it. We're getting there. We're getting there really fast. With each moment, each year, things happen a lot faster. So to me, what this makes me realize is there's going to be a lot of people looking to figure out what matters. What do I need to do? What is it that is important to me? And also, how do I live a life that I want? So my intention is, with where I'm going in Guatemala, if anything that I need to do with the local government there with this fund is a lot easier to do and to start it in the US, but we can give access to, of course, anyone that wants to be a part of it. And eventually, if we can prove the concept and show that we can do it on a smaller scale, we'll be able to see where it goes on a larger scale. But yeah, I feel like this is, a calling of mine, and this is a part of life's work. If you guys are here and you're watching this and you're hearing this, you obviously know how, or maybe you can feel, maybe you don't know how important this is to have decentralized systems where we're not being controlled by our money, through inflation, through interest rates and things. They literally control us through money, which is horrible. So this is a more empowering way to do this, to live. So anyway, yeah, long term, this is it's great. So just know, I'm saying this, obviously it's a vision, right? Mostly, but it's all planned out, everything that we want to do, and have all the right people, and they continuously keep coming into this space, even more of the right people. What are the next steps? So right now, that's why I went on that whole tangent, because I was explaining this Discord. Part of why this Discord is going to be subscription based is that money will be used to start funding the creation of this. I was going to start raising funds and doing a whole thing as a business, but I don't want to do that, because that if I start to raise funds from private money, they start to say what we do and what we don't do, and I'm just not here for that. So if we can just do it publicly, and yeah, just make it super abundant. My intention is that in a year or so, we will have an actual system where we can all invest our money, and we'll have a team of traders that are trading it a bit. Or we're going to start, and we'll put half of that money towards either partnering with the first communities, or even buying land to start creating the first Atlantis community. But I think to grow this the fastest, the first thing that needs to happen is we got to build the application to where people can invest their money and be able to pull it out at any time they want. And yeah, move forward from there. So I'm really inspired also by the power of bringing minds together, a mastermind, if you will, to having the same focus, the same vision. So what I will create, right now, I'm going to be the lead of this, because no one else is taking the thought or leading this in the same way. So what I'm going to do is make this specifically so that it is decentralized. I've already planned on how the Atlantis, how the voting will work. We're going to have an Atlantis Council of 12. There'll be a 13th member to help with any tiebreakers. But eventually I see this Atlantis Council, this is the team that is making decisions on where the money's going, what Atlantis is doing, and everything else. Every single person will have the ability to be part of the Atlantis Council. Even if you only have $10 invested, it will not be based off of the money that you have. We're going to make it to where anyone can eventually be part of that. And then over time, those, the council of 12 will probably be on AI. But what I'm saying this now because within a year, I'm going to start coming up to and inviting those that I feel are in a good place to be part of this Atlantis Council, to start directing. I already have the developers who will be developing the system ready. So I just want to make sure we have the right mastermind to tell them the right things to do to drive this in the right direction. But my intention is, once again, within a year, that we have a system where you can invest, you can see your investment, you can see it going up, you can see if we want to, let's say, once again, fund a regenerative coffee company or something, you can see where that money's going. So yeah, so the Atlantis community, for those of you that kind of hopped on while I was talking about that, why I'm going into all this, because the first step to all of that is this Discord, okay? Is being part of this Discord. More than just when we announce the actual subscription. You can get in, once again, right now for free. There's no subscription. But being consistent, just showing up, that when it comes to the Atlantis Council, I'm going to choose them from this Discord. When it comes to people who are contributing to trading or to anything that we do with Atlantis, I'm going to be choosing all from the group. We're not going outside unless it's absolutely necessary, right, for a developer or something. But for someone who actually is going to contribute in running Atlantis, this is how it will be decided. Or this is where the people will come from. So if you want to be part of this, the first step is just to make sure that you're in this group and active. And so as we build this is going to be, once again, the whole community where everything for the fund will be announced through here. Obviously, I'll also direct, the people from the Ascended Trader coaching, the Ascended Trader mentorship, to the same stuff. But this is going to be the main of it. So for those of you that hopped on, you didn't see the video. For those of you that didn't see the intro video, I'll post that soon. But yeah, we have 5 people right now who are contributing to the Discord. If you want to, you can, to find out who they are. All you got to do is come into the Discord, and you can scroll and you can see all the people who are in green. Those are your admins. Okay. So you got Alan, you got me, you got, where is he at? You got Keon, or here's Zach, here's Keon, and then you have Amala, who is Yoga Eternal. So all posting great stuff. If you have any questions, let me know. Post in here. You guys can, like, literally, Keon posted this yesterday at 10:43 p.m. You can ask questions if you want to see a specific chart. Easily ask questions. So, but yeah, stay active. That's what we want to see. Stay consistent. Cool. Okay, I know I just love talking about the things that are growing, and so I could talk about them forever. So, any questions on Atlantis? I know I have some in the chat. Let me check. Decolonized, non-hierarchical, non-capitalistic, anti-oppression community and human-based co-creation vibes. Yes, exactly. So just being like a world citizen, like that's just what it is. One thing I had while I was on the mountain snowboarding too, some visions I had, it was really empowering, because it's like most spiritual experiences I had to like leave Utah to be in a place. I feel like they put stuff in the air there to make people like less conscious and sad, but that'd be on the point. I had it was unexpected because I had some awesome epiphanies, and one of the biggest thing that I already kind of knew, but it just popped in my mind so powerfully, was the idea that a lot of people, the knowledge that we are going into a new, more expansive world. And some people, there's a lot of people out there like, that's crap, going through some great awakening, moving up higher frequency, all that crap. It's not crap. Literally, you can say that, the human race isn't collectively expanding consciously, which I believe. But what you can't deny is that AI is basically here, around the corner. I mean, I actually think conscious AI already is on Earth. They're just not fully, they have it somewhat contained. So they haven't fully announced it yet. But anyways, whenever it's fully announced within the next 10, 15 years, we as a human society are going to have to rise up collectively. And it will happen, actually, because then you have people like Elon Musk who are working on Neuralink, which will allow people to directly connect to AI, just with your thoughts. You'll be able to connect to the internet. Imagine your phone was in your brain. You could easily Google stuff at any moment but it's going to be to the umpteenth level, right? So we will, as a human, there's going to be some people who are naturalists and some people who are going to merge with the machine, whatever. Beyond the point, collectively, we are going to have to expand our consciousness and awareness. It will be happening. And so I'm getting to the point, which is connected to Yasmin's comment. There's a new world being created. And this is part of why I'm driven so heavily to go to these places like Guatemala, Mexico, and things, because that is going to be the hub of this new world, a big hub of it. Whereas I feel here in the US, when I think of on the timeline moving forward, it doesn't feel as powerful. You know, I'm here outside of Las Vegas. I'm in Nevada, so that could be it. But when I go to places like Tulum or to Guatemala, when I put my mind on the future, when I'm in those areas, it's like so expansive. And so that alone, let alone the feelings that I feel, it's just, I'm driven to build a new world. And so this is the point. All that context, everything I was saying was to lead up to this point, that there are people who will be left behind. Our family some of them will be left behind. What I mean by left behind is they're going to stay in the old world. They're going to stay stuck in the matrix. They're going to stay stuck in the negative mental ways, watching news, complaining about all these horrible things that are happening. And some of the horrible things that are happening on the earth are going to get worse and worse. The news is going to get more and more fearful as time goes on. And eventually there'll be a breaking point. But I mean, look at all the crap that came out just recently. You know, it came out that the FBI was meddling with Twitter. And also it was literally on Fox News. I didn't realize until someone posted to Twitter, but it was on Fox News that the CIA was part of JFK's assassination. That came out publicly on Fox News. So all this stuff coming out, we're just getting started. So here's where the point is, that a lot of people are going to get left behind. Where you go, whether you get left behind or not, depends on your focus. So if you're focused with us on creating the new world, then that's where you're going to go. But if you're focused on all the crazy shit that's going on and all the truth and conspiracies that are coming out, that's where you're going to stay focused on that negativity. And those are the people who, they're going to stay in this world. They're going to live out the rest of their life. They will pass, but they will be reincarnated as our children. It's okay. So this great awakening that's happening, everyone will be able to participate. A lot of people not in this lifetime. So anyways, what I'm getting at, this is even more reason. Like this is literally life or death for you to fully adopt your journey, your path, not anyone else's. And make sure that you're not focusing on, oh, I'm doing this because of all the bad shit that happened. It's no, I'm inspired to create a new world. And so focus your energy instead of on all the crap around you that's going on that might be uncomfortable. Keep focusing on what you're creating, because where focus goes, energy flows. And so if you're focused on all the crap going on in the world, you're adding more energy to the crap, right? But if all of us here, we're focusing on how do we create, what do we need to do to create more expansive systems for people? What do we do to allow people to feel more abundant, more expansive, consistently, right? For people to feel comfortable, for people to feel happy, right? What do we do? How do we do that? And so for me, it's obviously making sure first and foremost that I'm taken care of. But next, I realized that it's the money. If we can make people feel like the money part of their life is stable. Oh yeah, one more thing I want to share, just to add insult to injury. Wells Fargo in the last 10 years has had to multiple times pay multi-billions worth of fees, worth of fines, because of the fraud they commit on their customers. And it just came out again that they did it just again. So I'm just adding to the fact that this is not going to change, that these centralized systems, as long as they exist, they're going to keep causing fraud. Here you go. Wells Fargo penalties just this year, 3.7 billion for consumer abuses. This was causing people to go into overdraft fees that they weren't supposed to have, fees on loans that they weren't supposed to have. Anytime I ever hear anyone say, I'm overdrafted, my bank's charging me overdraft fees, your bank is scamming you. They're committing fraud. They're treating you horribly. If you have a bank that allows you to overdraft, that still allows you to charge your card when there's no money in it, and then charges you a fee, They are literally squeezing you dry. And it is horrible. Banks have done that for the longest time. And I have bank accounts that don't do that. But that's the thing is with inflation and living on debt, it's created this problem in this financial system. So this is why we are here. This is why I am here. And you guys obviously believe and are aligned with the vision because you're here watching this. You wouldn't be, because if you weren't vibrationally, we wouldn't be able to align. We need a system that's more inclusive where this doesn't even happen. 2012, 5.3 billion for mortgage abuses. This is where they actually were part of the reason that the 2008 crash happened. Wells Fargo was a big reason. 1.9 billion to 2013 for banking violations. 2018, 2 billion fine. These are just their fines. So their fines, as you guys probably know, whenever you've seen banks or companies get fined, it's way less than the damage that they've actually caused. Way, way less. It always is. So anyway, yeah, you guys know I could go off. So the first step to moving forward is we have to build community. We all got to be aligned with the same vision consistently. And when we're all consistently aligned with the same vision, it will come to fruition, come to creation. So so the initial intentions with the current Discord group are to make you money. Okay. So trades being like going every day. If you are consistent, let's say if you join the Ascended Trader, you get into the Ascended Trader course, where it's mostly me for now. We'll be adding other people. If you're practicing things consistently, if you're practicing the subconscious programming techniques I teach in there, the NLP techniques consistently, you will make money, period. And on top of that, well, I'm saying at that, and you're staying you're staying tuned in to all the trades and things that are going on in this Discord, and as they will continuously expand, you will make money. I want you to make money. I want you to be financially free, because if you're financially free, you'll be able to come help me out without having to think about yourself. You can just focus on how we can create for ourselves and for the world, and not be worried about what's in your bank account. So, but you do have to show up. Fortunately or unfortunately, this physical world is a world of doing. Us spiritual beings, especially those of us that are a little bit more awake, we realize how powerfully we can create with our mind. But in this world, it's not just the doing with the mind that creates rapidly. It does work. It definitely does. You can just focus and put things into existence. But we are in a physical body for a reason. So there is doing in this physical world, and the doing will make things happen. It's the conscious doing. So you have to show up when it comes to trading. You got to put the studying in. You got to watch the videos. You got to practice. Of course, we're always here to support, but yeah. Okay. I just realized I have another call in a minute with Ricardo, but I think he would actually jump on the same link. So I'll probably go for another 30 minutes here. Okay, guys, I'm going to go into charts. I said I would. I've just been talking about everything else for the moment. But yeah, if anyone has questions, please, any comments, concerns, anything, just let me know. Oh man, here's a trade I drew out actually yesterday, British pound versus Canadian dollar. Oh, I might have even entered it. Let's see. Did I enter it? Oh, I didn't enter it, but I entered a GBP USD sell. I wasn't public about it, and we're well in profit right now. So that's good. Okay, so heck yeah, I'm up $1,700. I just entered this last night. And let's go into it since I'm in this trade right now and see if there's any room for consistency. For continuation, I should say. Okay, so looking at British pound US dollar, the first reason that I hopped in was I went to the weekly and I saw that we had rejected off of the moving average, or off of the Bollinger Band, and we got this hammer. So that was like first sign. That's a reversal sign. And that to me means that we're at minimum, we'll probably go and test this moving average. So weekly was the number one chart I looked at. Then I go down to the daily, and I could see that we were actually right here at the moving average. Now I jumped in while this candle was printing. So this one had already printed. Couple things. One, this doji normally is a reversal candle. Okay. And if we look at, we went down and then got this. So a reversal would mean that we head up from here. I'm glad I didn't see this candle close, or else I would have closed the trade and I wouldn't be in profit right now. But the reason I still entered here was because that close was under the moving average here on the daily, and we had the weekly to support that we needed to come down and retest before we go higher. I do believe that this will go higher over time, but we're going to come down first before we do. So that inspired me to go down to the 4 hour. Now on the 4-hour, what I saw where you see these doji, the doji and these smaller candles, it looks like this. So the 4-hour, we had come down and broken under, and I had gotten in like, I think right here on this candlestick, somewhere around here. But we're down below the moving average, and we're showing some resistance there. We came up, we kind of rejected, we had this candle close. This is an attempt to move higher. And then, of course, when we test this moving average multiple times and we're not able to break above it, to me, that was a strong sign to get into a sell. So we had a couple candles that faked us out. That's what they tend to do on the lower time frames. But yeah, overall, this isn't an uptrend. So I don't want to stay into, in a sell for long term. I'm just watching the areas at which it could bounce. The first level that I have as a take profit is this orange line here, 1.199. Is this a trade that I would enter now? Probably not. If you want to watch the low time frames, you could wait for some kind of retest, in the 5-minute or 15-minute, and then write it down. At this point, though, I think it'd be better just to find another trade that hasn't already moved. There's plenty out there that we can find. So that's what I'll do. I'm just going to stay in this trade. I didn't announce it because, to be honest, the last couple weeks or so, I haven't been trading a lot. And so I just want to be warmed up, and I don't want to post bad trades. So I just want to make sure I'm in a good mindset and stuff, and that I'm doing good, because my trading, I've been focusing on coaching, so more, and not the trading aspect. But that's what the group is going to help us do, is get it all rolling a lot better. So okay, anyway, I'm going to scan through, see if I see anything. Let me text Ricardo. I don't know if he's on right now. He might be. Let's see. Where are we at? He's not yet. Okay. Let me just send this text really quick, guys, and we'll be good. Hey, Ricardo, we're on live right now. I know you and I have our call scheduled. I'm just going to go in on charts on live here for a little bit longer, and then we can do our call. So just let me know if you're available. If you want to hop on the live too, that's fine. But yeah, blessings, brother. We'll talk to you soon. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just flow through charts. I'm going to start. I just want to see if we can find something. So I'll briefly explain why. If I decide that I don't see a trade, then I'll briefly explain why, and then move on. And one of you guys, or any of you guys, of course, if you have any questions, you can let me know. Of course, about what we're doing and everything. Yasha said 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't know where you saw that, but it sounds like it was probably right on the chart. Yeah. So anyway, okay. So I'm gonna start on the daily. Just want to see if there's room for something to move. So when we see a strong movement like this, to me, that means that a movement has already happened. So I don't. Oh, the time was 12:34. Nice. Heck yeah. Let's go. It's only 9:34 here. So, when I already see that it's moved pretty strong, that immediately tells me there's probably not a trade right there. If I'm inspired to do so, I can go out to a weekly, or go to a higher time frame. Now we can see here on British pound versus Japanese yen that this strong candle we just had could potentially be the sign that we are changing trend, because we've been trending up for a while now. Could mean that we're heading down, so a trade could be coming. But since the move has already happened pretty strong, I don't want to get in until we see some type of maybe retest, and then we move lower. So I can draw a couple lines, if I want, just to watch for that. But yeah, so I'm just, I'll move on, because, obviously, once again, the movement has happened. We want to get in before the movement happens, right? USD JPY, same thing. But here's something really interesting to pay attention to is on USD JPY, you can see that the level that we're at right now, we were supported and we moved up pretty strong. We've been in this downtrend. So very clearly, since we touched the support level, one of two things are going to happen. Either we would move up, or, we're going to eventually go down lower. So to me, because you can look at this current, or yesterday's candle, I should say, and the current one, but look how strong this downward candle is. We had no wicks on the bottom. That means no one was pushing the price up. And then right after, we have 4 hours left in this daily candle, but you're telling me that it's been 20 of the 24 hours in a day, and this is all we're able to move up. So that tells us that people are not stoked to buy at this level. So that means that eventually, in my opinion, it will go down, that this level will break. And so very clearly, since this is a strong support level, We can draw this out too. It goes far. That means to me that we're probably going to go to the next support level, which would be this green line. I'm going to move it up just a little bit. But that means to me that as soon as we get this signal, that we could make this trade from here down to this green line. And we can see that USD JPY and GBP JPY are both looking kind of similar, where they had that spike. The whole chart looks different, right? But they had that recent spike downward. That means that the Japanese yen is stronger because the US dollar and the British pound are going down in comparison. So, you know, a lot of times that means that we can just assume, okay, if I look at the euro versus the Japanese yen or any other currency, I'll probably see a similar spike. So the time is not to enter is not now. We can see here on the 4-hour, we've kind of taken a pause, seem to be maybe heading up a little bit. And so that's what we want to look for is we want to watch for those signs to get in. So just how we moved down really strong, we kind of came up, went sideways / up a little bit, and then we end up moving lower. That's what we're going to look for right here. So obviously right now it's not happening. Right now is the movement up. So we can just watch. And there's a couple of things I can do. I can set an alert to know, all right, tell me as soon as we break this line. Matter of fact, if we even get close to it, I want to know. Okay. So I set an alert here. If I hover in my trading view, I can just click that little plus sign. That gives me an alert. Now on my alerts, I have it to where it notifies me in the app. So I'll see it on my phone. You can have it send you an email or play a sound, whatever. So if you're the type that has your computer open all the time, then that's one thing you can do is just have it play a sound, which is really fun. You turn your volume up and you could be doing whatever, dancing to Elvis in the living room, right? But you can hear that bing and this, oh, my trade notification went off. Time to go check this, right? It's a great way to stay in your own flow. So I do an alert there if we move down lower. And I'm also going to do an alert right up here because you can see that this obviously is the level where we experienced support. So we could maybe expect resistance. You can also see right here too. So actually I'm going to move it a little lower because we have this level too. So I want to know when it touches that because that's potentially the area that I'll be getting into another sell to write it down. Okay. So daily, let me check my messages. Haven't heard from Ricardo, so I don't know if he's going to be good for our call, which is fine. So that means we can go longer here in the live stream. So I'm feeling good. Let's see who's on. Oh, Ricardo's on. Never mind. Blessing. Good to see him. So in that case, guys, I'll probably go another like 5-10 minutes, and then Ricardo and I get our we're going to take our private time. So okay. Let me come back to charts really quick. Gotta get the Zoom stuff out of my way. So on daily here, we got Euro USD, which in context has done some awesome things, different than I expected. I actually expected this to go down to around like 80, like around the 89 cents level, 89 cents for €1. We bounced though right at 95 cents, and we're back above $1.06. To me, $1 is a really logical level for the euro. I was talking about this with Lika the other day, and the dollar or $1 level, I know Europeans are freaking like, they don't want to have their currency be less than the dollar. They're really, prideful, and Americans, of course, a lot of Americans are really prideful about America, about the US. See, we're so prideful as Americans that we call it America, even though America is all of North and South America. It's all the countries, and it's Canada and everything. But you go around the world and they call the people from the US Americans. But Mexicans are Americans, El Salvadorians are Americans, Guatemalans, Brazilians are Americans. So that's how prideful the Americans are. So it's in my programming. Sorry, guys. But anyway, you can tell, we know that it's the $1 level is a logical level because of those reasons and many other. And this same ideology works in Bitcoin at like the $10,000 level, at the $20,000 level. You can also look at gold. The solid levels at 1,800, the 1,900, 2,000, right? These logical levels where you can just expect there to be some sort of, action around those. So to me, because the euro was able to strongly push back up above $1, I don't think it's going to go below again, personally. At least not right now, maybe later. But I noticed here on the weekly chart that this moving average is kind of lined up at $1. We can also see that we were very clearly in a strong downtrend for a while. Draw that out way far. And very clearly, we're not in that downtrend anymore. We've definitely broken it. So now it's really common to retest a high before a breakout. I got a lot of extra lines here. So let me delete some of my lines here to show you guys what my plan would be for this. Okay. So it's really common once we've broken out to retest the high before the breakout. So to me, that's going to be this level. You can see that this yellow line that I've drawn, each time we touch it for a while, we were hitting lower high. Here's a high, lower high, lower high, lower high, right? And so this last one was the last lower high where we touched it. We had a wick, we moved down in this candle, and then we bounced up. So this is the breakout. So the high before the breakout is right here. And so notice that it's right at the $1 level, right there. We can see that it was resistance here. We can also see that it was support. So to me, what I believe is there's a good chance that the euro at this point, because we're now experiencing on the weekly, we're experiencing a slowing down of that upward movement, by getting this doji, this hammer. We have 2 days left in this weekly, and look how little it's moved. So to me, that means that we need to come down and get rocket fuel. And the $1 level is going to be the most obvious level, in my opinion. Maybe not the most obvious for most, but first level I have, though, is where we saw support and resistance. So this is how I'm trading this is, you can see this on the weekly slowing down. So that means that if I get on the 4-hour or on the, on the daily, if I start to see some downward movement, I can ride this down, and I can ride it all the way down to $1. So from here to here, it doesn't look very big, but if we go to the 4-hour, going all the way to $1 to this yellow line, there's a lot of space there. So we have a lot of room for an awesome trade. And so I don't know that it's going to head down right here, right now. It looks like it wants to do it pretty soon. And by the way, with the downward movement, what I'm guesstimating will happen, just basing off of, the charting and off of a little bit of the fundamental, the logic. I anticipate we're going to come down to either $1 or around that level, and then we're going to head up and create a new higher high. So if I'm getting in this to sell, to get a short sell, well, you can bet that I'm going to close the trade basically really easily. If we start to see other ideas or other action that's saying that actually wants to go up right now, I'll close the trade very liberally, because overall, if we look at this 4-hour, it's in an upward trend. Yeah, overall we've been in a downward trend, but the trend is broken. So we don't want to, the trend is your friend. We don't want to go against the flow. So I just believe that it's a very logical, very safe, and a very low risk trade to get a quick sell in here and ride it down. So just looking at this, I'm not going to enter the trade at this moment. Maybe Ricardo and I, when we have our private time, I might in a little while, but this moment, it doesn't feel the best. I want to at least wait for this 4-hour to close, which is in 15 minutes. But right now I could basically trade off the 4-hour, or I drew this trade off of the 4-hour, and having to take profit right around like $1 and a penny, 101 basically, or just under 101. That puts us at a 3.5 risk to reward ratio, stop loss above the high. That's a really good trade. Really, really good trade. The price action is looking decent as well. So like I told you on the weekly, we're already seeing some signs of rejection. So to me, that means on the weekly for sure, it's got to come down. The monthly, not so much though. Monthly looks like it could go a little higher, but it's okay. We're just going to pay close attention. Daily, we saw some rejection here. We got a wick here off the top Bollinger Band, but we're not getting some strong downward candles just yet on the daily. So based off the daily, it's definitely not something we want to enter as of right now. The 4-hour, however, we are starting to break down a little bit. We're getting rejection wicks, right? We've broken down below the moving average. The Bollinger Bands are squeezing, and we're not able to close outside of the top bands. We keep getting these wicks. Every time we touch the top band, we wick down. And this current candle looks like, we got 13 minutes left, looks like it could close as an engulfing candle, which is another strong sign of downside, right? Or another symbol that the people selling have more strength. The 1-hour looks just ready to go down. Notice how we close outside of the top band really easily here, a little bit right here, but then here all of a sudden we're not able to. And then basically every time after we test the top bands, It's really difficult to close to the outside. We got a little bit here, but we got all these strong wicks. So that tells us there's a lot of selling pressure right now. So anyway, I would say that this looks good as a sell. At what point would I actually enter? Here's a solid support line. If we break that line, that would look really good. To me, breaking that line is a good sign, but to me, if I just see honestly, that's going to be it. If we close a candle pretty strong below this yellow line, that's overtaking a lot of this little upward movement here. I'm going to feel pretty good about this sell for sure. Knowing we have support levels all the way down. And very clearly, very obviously, I'm going to be watching the higher time frames, because if on the daily, it could just very well be that on the daily, we only come down to the moving average here. We test it and then bounce. So if I start to see any signs of support, if I were to get into this trade, after either this 4-hour close or maybe one more, if I were to get in, I'm going to be very, very quick. As soon as I see any signs that we're being supported strongly or that people are starting to buy to push the price up, I'm out. I'm getting out of the trade and I'm moving on. One of the most powerful things you can do as a trader is take money off the table, especially if you're in profit. It's one of the hardest things to do, because you're like, well, this could go, yeah, I'm up 5%, but if it goes, I could be up 15%, if you can get really, really good at just as soon as you're up and you feel like, okay, wow, this is a good profit. Heck yeah, I'm happy for myself. As soon as you feel happy, close it, right? If you look at it and you're like, oh, okay, it's just getting started, or I'm at break even, let it go, let it flow. But I've said this to a few people, but out of all this last year, out of all the trades that I've made, out of all the trades that I've won, it's something like 80 or maybe even 90% of them I closed manually, meaning they didn't hit my take profit order that I had set. I saw it was up, and I saw one candle, even if it was on the 1 hour or 15-minute, that looked like it was going to go the other way. So I closed it. It's the saying in the US, or in English, it's in the US, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush, right? So it's better to take something you have and let it grow, and take the guaranteed profit than to wait for potentially more profit. I can't tell you how many times I looked at a trade, I was up in profit, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is good. Heck yeah, I'm stoked. Well, it's gonna go farther, and I walk away and I come back, and the trade was in a loss the second time I looked. And I had that chance to take money and potentially even re-enter. And I've had so many times where I was in profit and then I come back and it hit my stop loss. So I'm very, very good. If I feel good, I'm gonna take profit. So on that note, that was the last chart I'm gonna go into and chart right now. I'm gonna go into my trade though that I'm in and just see what it looks like. See if it's time to close yet. So here's a good sign where yes, put a stop loss every time you leave the desk. Yeah, I put a stop loss even if I'm at the desk. So I have horror stories of myself and friends losing a lot of money really fast by just, one friend lost like 20 grand in like 10 minutes because he fell asleep at his computer. He didn't think the charts were going to move as much as they did, and it's just like that. So I would use a stop loss all the time. But let's talk about, like, okay, if I'm in a trade and I'm in profit, like I am right now, let me show you what my trade looks like. I actually have to draw it because I didn't draw it out on here. Oh, see, I was up 1,700. Now I'm only up 1,300. We get a strong wick. Okay, let's go to the 1 hour here. Let me draw out the trade, and I'm going to show you exactly what it looks like and how I'll probably close it. So 12116. All right, let's see, 12116. That's where I entered. My take profit is way down here. 19533. It's like right there. And my stop loss I have right here above this high now. Okay. So this is my trade thus far. Drag it over so you can see 0.21. I'm trying to find, where is it? I don't know why this isn't doing. Oh, 1211. I was just trying to make sure I have it right in the spot that I actually entered. That's good enough. I don't want it to be too crazy. It's actually like, okay, now I got it exact. All right. So here's where I entered. Now, I entered, honestly, it would have been on, let me go to the 4 hour, see the time. 4 hour. Yeah, okay. So I entered right here. It was one of these two candlesticks. It was either this blue one or this white one. I can't really remember, but it was these rejection wicks that inspired me to enter. My stop loss originally was right here, but I've moved it down to here. And now I'm comfortable enough if I go to the hourly that I could easily move it down to like right here. But I may close the trade. We got 7 minutes left. So here's a perfect example of a pattern that I would see and immediately close a trade. Now, if I go to the higher time frame, I do very strongly feel that we will probably go a lot lower. However, we could bounce before we go lower. And actually, because this trade, the way it looks, we got 6 minutes left for this 4 hour. This is the first one breaking out, so I am going to leave this trade open. But what I'm getting at is if I see at all anywhere strong signs of reversal, then I would completely get out of this trade. Now, the 15-minute here, we can see we just got an engulfing candle. That is a potential sign for us to come up, which we obviously come up a little bit. But because of how strong the 4 hour and daily look, I feel really, really good about waiting on this. However, I will be putting my stop loss right at break even. And so the break even is going to be right above this candlestick. And even though it's not the best place for a stop loss, I would rather protect myself, especially because I know that I'm up. Now, I'm going to be okay with leaving this one because I'm not going to be at a loss. My stop loss is going to be right here at the break even. As a matter of fact, I'll move it now instead of just talking about it. Okay, stop loss at break even. So now I'm comfortable with leaving this trade open. I have money, so I'm okay. Like if this trade ends up just stopping out and breaking even, because I see how much strong potential is left. But I'll tell you right now that one of the most powerful things you can do is just close trades early. So on this one, honestly, I'll watch the 5 minute because one thing that I look at is, here we got dojis. I always talk about how dojis are reversal candles. We have 5 minutes left in this hourly. That's a very clear doji, which could very clearly be a reversal candle. So what I will actually do is while I'm here, mostly it's going to be working with Ricardo over the next hour and a couple other people I'm working with today. I'm going to just watch the 5 minute. And for me, I'm just going to wait to see if we break above the moving average. If we start going above the average price, then I'll probably just close the trade automatically. So it seems that we could be potentially rejecting and moving down lower. So I'll wait and watch. But yeah, but I'm cool with it. Even though if I keep this trade open and it went all the way to my take profit, for me, this probably be like a $4,000 trade, $4,000 or $5,000 profit. But I may end up closing it at like a 12 to 1800. And I'm totally okay with that because there's always another trade. For the rest of forever, there will always be another trade. And on top of that, it's pretty cool because it's taken me 10 minutes of charting, total maybe 20 minutes. And it's easily enough to one trade that'll pay half of my rent. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. So okay, on that, yeah, always more, always another trade. That's why it's so easy for me to close trades, even if they're a third. Like you can see this is like less than a third, maybe a fourth of where it could go. Okay, I would say a third, maybe almost half. A third. Yeah. He votes a third to where I would intend for it to go. Oh yeah, that's one last thing I want to say is why do I have that target? I'll explain that. Even though we're only a third of the way there though, I'm totally cool with closing early because I know I can find another trade and potentially even on this chart. It's just like this one just looks like it's just getting started. So by the way, I chose this area because I do have this resistance level here, or it was resistance, and then we kind of saw it as support. But my take profit's a little lower because I'm going to go off of the actual support level, which is way down here. And so my take profit is actually a little higher because I'm expecting that we come into this area to kind of see that. We're going to potentially see some liquidity here, meaning a lot of people are going to start buying here to send it up because it's a strong level. we're gonna, test it and just break through and go lower. So we've been in this strong uptrend. I think that the uptrend may continue over time. I don't know. We'll see though. We'll see how it goes. So that's it. That's what I got right now for you guys. If you have any questions, once again, just reach out. But yeah, does anyone right now, do you have any questions while I'm here? It doesn't even have to be about charts that I was talking about. Do you have any questions about Atlantis, the Discord group, Atlantis, the fund that's, coming out over time? Do you have questions about trading? Do you have questions about consciousness, reprogramming your subconscious, making more money? You need to make some extra money right now for the holidays. You got questions about that? Anything at all? Feeling good? Okay. Yes, Nyasho, I got you scheduled for 11 my time. So in about an hour. Okay. Nyasho, if you're okay with it, I'm gonna move your call like 30 minutes later so I can spend the time with Ricardo. But yeah, cool. I'll do that. I'm gonna do that in the calendar. Do 45 minutes later. Sal really quick said, could you talk a little bit more about signs to enter a trade? Yes, let's talk about that really quick. So signs to enter a trade. First of all, I have trading rules. If you're in the mentorship, you should have seen these. You should have access to these. If you don't, let me know. Sal, I don't know your email. That's okay. We don't need to publicly do it, but if you want to privately send me to it, I can share this with you. So I listed out rule. What was that?
Yeah, I've got the trading rules. I guess I was just looking for a little bit more clarity. Like, what are you looking at? Like 3 to 4. I've seen the reasons, but I guess what you're looking at particularly.
Great question. Okay, let me just really do a quick scan and see if there's like a trade that's looks like it could happen. Okay, this one, the Euro USD one. Let's go off of this one. Because this one, it looks decent. It could happen. It may not, but it could. So in this case, I didn't enter. And why? The main thing that I look for for reasons to enter a trade is going to be confirmation. So now obviously on my trading rules, I've listed out 12 reasons to enter a trade. So one of my rules is I have at least 3 reasons. And so that's why I created this list to kind of give me guidance. And that way I can ask myself, okay, do I have at least 3 reasons to enter a trade? So let's talk about this one. First and foremost, the first thing we ask is, we can go down the list. Whoops. Oh, if we want, I'm not going to go through the full list, but we can just ask ourselves, okay, is it trending up or down? So I drew out a sell. Obviously, we can say that this is trending up. So my sell is opposite. So actually, if I made this trade, I'd be going against the flow in a way, right? Most of the time, that's how I trade, is I trade with the trend. But sometimes we can find those reversal points and get in. So my reasons to enter a trade, then I might go off of some other ones, just because any one of these reasons might be a no or not in alignment. Doesn't mean it's not a good trade, right? We just need at least 3 of these. As long as we have at least 3, we should be good. And what I also do is I like to give myself the opposite argument, 3 reasons why I should enter the trade to the other side, and just see if it outweighs. So the first thing is confirmation. Now it can be a whole conversation to talk about all the reasons to enter a trade, why and when, and signals and signs. But the first thing I want is confirmation. So let's talk about that in the case of this one. What am I expecting? Well, first, I'm expecting that for at least a short time, this upward trend is going to turn into a downward trend. Okay. So then I have to ask myself, okay, well, it's obviously not there this moment. Kind of. We can kind of see that it's broken actually a little bit. A lot of people can't see this, but we can. So we kind of have broken this from what it looks like. My anticipation is that we go into a downward trend. What do I need to see in a downward trend? What would confirm that? A lower low. That's what would confirm it. So right here, we can see we were creating higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low, and it looks like we've broken it now. So as long as we break this low, that to me is confirmation of downtrend, right? Because that's what a downtrend is: lower lows, lower highs. So as long as we make that lower low, we make that trend, well, then right away, I feel good. So initially, what that means is we don't have to wait for it to go way down. if we just get one little candle body that closes below this yellow line, well, that's already showing that we have a lower low. And a lot of times if we're making a lower low, it's not going to stop right at or around, the previous low. It's going to go lower. And we just on the 4 hour, by the way, we got an engulfing candle. So this honestly looks pretty good to enter, especially when I draw this trend line. And that stop loss is pretty high. Like I would even say we could have stop loss down here. And this turns us into a freaking 7.3 potential trade. Anyway, beyond the point. It looks really good. I may enter it later, but we'll see. So first confirmation is, if I'm in a downtrend, right? If I'm trying to, the trend is your friend. So in this case, I want there to be a downtrend. So I need to have confirmation that it's going down. That's number one. So what's the confirmation that's going down is that we close a candle body below and we make a new low, right? Which means that we start that new pattern. You feel? So that's going to be number one. Another thing I look for is, just basically everything here. Is there an engulfing candle? So yes, we just got a downward engulfing candle. What else we got? We are bouncing off of support or resistance. Well, we could kind of say that this was resistance. We just don't know yet because we haven't tested it, multiple times, but we did test it to the upside, right? This little trend line. One thing we could also do is just check to see if this high here is a resistance line. So I'm going to draw a line right at the top of the wick. And very clearly look at how we had support back here. Wow, here this is on the monthly chart. So now I go back to my rules, go back to the actual trade and go back to my rules. And very clearly, yes, we're bouncing off of support or resistance. In this case, we're bouncing off of resistance, this green line, because we can very clearly see that we tested that as support just back here in 2020 of March. And now we're back up here testing it again. And so now we have, okay, right now there's two reasons. We did get the engulfing candle, the trending down. We can't really say, it hasn't really done it yet. So there's an engulfing candle. Yes, at least one strong wick. I would argue and say that we have multiple. We can go on the weekly here and say we got strong wicks on the upside on the weekly. I can go to the daily, not so many wicks on the daily, but on the 4 hour, we got tons of large wicks, right? But if you look at the bottom, we don't have big wicks like that. Like look at this one, right? Look at these ones. We don't have really much of anything like that on the bottom. Why? Well, that tells us that there's a lot of selling pressure from the top. They're trying to push the price up, but it's just forced back down, right? So there's another reason. So yes, we do have multiple strong wicks. Engulf the previous movement. We haven't done that yet. So a previous movement would be, we came up, we went sideways and down, came up, we went sideways and down, right? So this to me is the previous movement. When we broke that sideways and down right here, this candle, if we overtake that, then that would mean that it's a check mark against this. We don't have that yet. Oops, I don't know why I did that. We don't have that yet. Bouncing off the moving average, we're not bouncing off. We did just close below. So we could also say close above or below moving average. We just did close below. So you can see right now with this trade, there's like 3 or 4 reasons to enter this that we have right now. There's a recent close outside of the Bollinger Bands. Let's see. We did close to the bottom, outside the bottom a little bit here, but not strong enough to count it to me. But closing outside the bottom and then testing the top and not being able to close outside of the top is a strong sign of continuation to the downside. Just like closing outside of the top and then not really being able to close outside the bottom is a continuation to the upside. We did continue even though we were rejected. So we won't count that one because we can count the closing below, but we can't count the closing outside. Not so much, I would say. Bollinger Bands are squeezing. Look at that. Look how tight the squeeze are. So very clearly, you can see all the other times where they were spread apart. So Bollinger Bands are squeezing. And we just tested the top band. It's looking better and better every moment. So yeah, so right now we have literally 5 reasons that we could enter a trade so far. Closing below support, closing above resistance. So that's where, in this case, this bottom is going to be that support level. If we can close below that, then that's our reason to enter a trade. So that might mean that we don't enter till it's down here, which gives us around a 4.8-ish risk to reward ratio, potentially even better because we can move the stop loss here if we come down here. So a 6, still a really good looking trade. Yeah. Let me come back. At least 2 time frames are in alignment. That's another big one, is I like to have at least 2 time frames saying the same thing. So in this case, we got the weekly saying, yes, this is rejecting. We're experiencing some resistance. It could come down. The daily says, yeah, it could go down, but not strong. But the 4 hour says, yes, this is ready to go down. 1 hour says, yes, this will probably go down. 15-minute says it's still kind of sideways, but could go down. So I honestly feel really good about this trade. I probably will make it. And matter of fact, I might post it. I'm just going to post to the group and say, seeing a potential, on Euro USD. Now, I will say that in hindsight, what I'm thinking right now is that us moving down with the Euro USD. By the way, Sal, hopefully that helped a little bit to give reasons to enter. I like to wait for like confirmation. Once again, so confirmation. What is confirmation? It's just, once again, it's confirming the. So I go back to the reasons to enter a trade. For instance, how do we confirm that it's trending up or down? We confirm that it's trending up or down. In this case, we're looking for down when we make a new low, right? Because downtrend is lower lows, lower highs. So here we have a high, and potentially we have a lower high, but we won't know yet. We won't know unless or until we make a lower low. And then at that point, we could count it as, a trend. So I'm saying potentially this is a trend here. We don't know quite yet what the bottom would look like, but I mean, we could say maybe something like that. So very clear, we got to pay attention to these support lines. I just think that it could go pretty low. So I just want to share this with the group though. But yeah, Sal, if you want me to expound on any of the things I was just saying, just let me know. I'll totally go in deeper. But I am wanting to make the transition. I think right now, just timing wise, I think it would be good. Like I have like one last question, and then I want to go work with Ricardo. So any questions?
Thanks, Cody. That was really good. I guess just real quick, is there any one of those reasons that hold more weight than others? Like, is there a hierarchy?
Great question. So, in a way, yes. First and foremost, price action is number one. The candlestick patterns are the first thing you should be looking at. And so obviously a lot of my trading rules have to do with candlesticks, engulfing candles, wicks, bouncing off support and resistance. So what I would say is before the Bollinger Bands, we want to be able to make decisions on the candlesticks by themselves. So the answer is, I would say yes. They're a little bit first, and like what I like to do sometimes, especially while teaching people, is I'll analyze charts without the Bollinger Bands. Just to show what's going on and what we can see in the price action. But the candlesticks alone give us enough that we can be profitable with just the candlesticks without any other indicators. So yes and no. That's why sometimes with trading, it's harder because, in the end, like either we're going to be right or we're going to be wrong, right? I'm finding that I'm more accurate if the candlesticks themselves are like, 80 to 90% of my decision-making process. Whereas, yeah, Bollinger Bands and stuff are great. Great to add a filter to, but yeah, candlesticks. So, how is there a way I can expound on that more? I mean, I'd say no. Like for me, if you have 2 or 3 time frames saying, "Oh yeah, this is going to go in this direction," it's usually a pretty good trade. So one thing I'll say too, though, is like if I see a potential sell on the 1 hour, 15-minute, but then on the daily and weekly, it's like, no, you shouldn't get into that trade. Then that's something that has a hierarchy, right? So if the daily and weekly are like, no, that would be a really shitty trade to make, then I probably wouldn't make it, even if it looks good on the 1 hour, 15-minute, because there's a lot of times where I don't look at charts, all day, every day, so I can't see the smaller movements. So yeah, if the 1 hour, 15-minute, if those look bullish, like if it looks like it's about to go up, but the daily, weekly look like it's about to go down, then I won't enter the trade, period. Yeah, if the 1 hour, 4 hour, 15-minute all look bullish, then I might enter. But higher time frames also have a little bit of a hierarchy. Like the higher time frame, the higher the time frame, the stronger the signal, the more accurate it is. Like you could see here, we're looking at a weekly chart. You could see this type of price action here on a freak a 5 minute, you know, or a 1 minute, and then it could still pump up like really heavily, even though this is really strong price action showing that it's weakening, that we probably will head down a little bit. On the 5 minute, you see this type of thing, it will just head up, you know, like it's just period. And so we have to realize that but here on the higher time frame on the weekly, the likelihood of this going up is a lot lower. The likelihood of it actually reversing is higher because the pattern, it's a lot harder to keep and hold a pattern on a higher time frame than it is on a lower time frame, if that makes sense. So the lower time frames take precedence. So just sending a message, but hopefully that answers. Cool. Feeling good? Okay, guys. Well, in that case, I'm going to call it. So appreciate you all. Appreciate your time, your beings, your essence, your questions, everything, your energy contributing to this call. It's really powerful. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm gonna stop this call, Ricardo, so I can separate the recordings. So if you want to just like hop back on in 2 minutes. But yeah, for everyone else, if you have questions or anything, reach out in the ways that you can. Signal group. Sending me private messages on Discord is not going to get you an answer, I promise. At least not right now, maybe in a few months. But I just so many there. So right now, the best place to get a hold of me is going to be in the private mentorship group, in the Signal group there, or Instagram. So, and even Instagram right now is like a couple days, but we're getting better. So, okay, guys, all the love, all the blessings. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.